Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Ted Lasso, Season 2, Episode 11, Midnight Train to Royston is the show, episode that just came out, obviously. That's what I'm talking about. I'm glad I took your time to let you know that Episode 11's out. Only one more episode to go in Season 2 of Ted Lasso. This one, AFC Richmond, is coming off a string of wins thanks to Sam. Sam is the man in this show, and apparently he's been on a hot streak. They are one game away from getting reinstated or whatever. I think if they win one more game, then which I would imagine is the last episode, is the final game. But Sam's on a hot streak, so it opens with him being applauded at a game, just being chanted. Sam Obasanya? Man, I shouldn't have even tried that. But Sam's doing great. It's also Sharon's last day, so Ted is trying to set up a farewell for her. The team is practicing some choreographed dance moves. Ted's going around collecting money for a goodbye gift. Then you also have Keeley is going to be featured in a magazine article. She's going to have photographers come over to her place, take a bunch of pictures with her and with Roy. So a few things going on in this episode. So to get into it, Nate, nervous, wanting to get a new suit, get a nice suit, but he's not very good with fashion. Ask Keeley to go shopping with him. So she loves shopping. She needs to go get some outfits for this photo shoot that she's doing, so she goes shopping. Roy ends up going to pick up his niece at school, but was late. It was a short day, and the mom picked her up early. So Roy starts chatting with one of the teachers. Back and forth, innocent stuff. There's like an art show going up where the kids' art goes up, and parents and people come in to bid on it. And it's a way to raise money, which I feel is a brilliant way to raise money. It's like auction off kids' artwork. And he noticed, he wanted to see where his nieces were, and they were unhangable because she's doing women's breasts, and very, very good. She's actually quite a talented artist. But yeah, so he's there talking to her. Sam is, after his big victory, there's word of this billionaire whose dad just died. And he's a big soccer fan. He wants to come and, potentially he wants to talk to Sam. They think he's there to buy AFC Richmond, but Rebecca's not willing to sell. And it's really cool. It was interesting. I like that the actor that they brought in to play the African billionaire. It was great. I forget his name. I'm off on his name right now, and I do not want to look it up. But so Sam is so the billionaire shows up mid training, doing this choreograph dancing, and wants to sit down. So they talk. They think he's going to buy the team. He's like, no. I just want Sam. I want to start my own team, but I want Sam to play for that team. And they're like, well, Sam's got a contract, and he's willing to pay way over to get him to, make a negotiation to get him over there. And it's really up to Sam. Obviously, Rebecca doesn't want him to leave, even though they're on a break. She still loves Sam, but she doesn't know what, it's a difficult situation for her, so she doesn't want him to go. Everybody loves Sam. And Sam is on a hot streak. I would imagine they're not going to take him right before their last game, but they are on a hot streak. And he has gained his notoriety from AFC Richmond. So there is that kind of that feeling there. But they're allowing Sam. It's up to Sam what he wants to do. So Sam is on this, hanging out with this billionaire throughout the day. He asks him, let's go to a museum, go to lunch. And it's a fun scene where you're seeing, Sam, the lovable Sam, in this museum. They're looking at this beautiful piece of art, and the guy's saying, I just bought this piece of art. It's this Nigerian artist, does amazing stuff. And then he realized, Sam's impressed because his billionaire's not hanging around with a big security detail. He's, just hanging around like a quote unquote normal person. But then the billionaire's like, well, I actually I paid to have the museum shut down so I could just come in on my own, and all these people walking around, they're just actors. It's like a funny, interesting way to show how much money billionaires have. It's like, oh, I could not only rent this entire museum to have a private screening, showing, viewing, whatever, but I can also just hire a bunch of people to make it seem like I'm walking amongst the normies, which is kind of a funny thing. But he's doesn't seem like it's a weird, unpretentious way. It's very over, it's very extra, but it's honest. And he's being honest with Sam. It's it's not like he's hiding. It's not like Sam figured it out. I'm sure things would have gone much differently. But Sam digs him. And the dude wants to start an African team. And he wants to get a bunch of amazing African players that are playing in other teams. And his goal is in 20 years to win the World Cup, which is something that Sam would definitely love to do. He loves his family. He loves where he's from. He's, been at war with the previous sponsor of AFC Richmond because of the business practices, because of what they've done to his homeland, with the destruction that they've done. But then he's seen that success, and he would love, there's, I'm sure, a big part of Sam that would just love to drop everything and go do, this is a huge opportunity for him. Huge opportunity. And it's also, he's getting a lot of praise from his dad, which is, I'm sure if doing this extra thing would make his dad, assuming that this billionaire guy is really 100% what he says he is, because wealthy people, they can afford to live in whatever reality they want to live in. But it's an interesting meeting between Sam and him because you don't really know. I mean, they have a great meeting. They hang out. They go to a restaurant that similarly, Sam's like, I didn't even know they had good Nigerian food around here. And he's like, oh, I bought this. I had this set up for today. Have my own chefs. These are all actors again, which is funny. And Sam's doesn't care. He loves the food. And they have a little fun beef because, Sam is from a different area than this billionaire dude, about the food, the quality of food, which one is better, which is fun. So we don't know. Oh, Edwin is his character's name, I guess. So Keeley and Roy. So Keeley is out shopping with Nate. They're at this high-end place. Nate's looking for a new suit, and it's probably just he wants a new suit. He's doing well. His ego is really taking over, and he's still showing to be a jerk to the new equipment manager. But they're at this swanky thing where they're getting ready, and there's a scene where Keeley's tightening his tie or tying his tie for him, and it's a scene that I didn't necessarily see coming. Nate kisses Keeley, right? Because they get close. She's fixing his tie, and he's asking about just what it's like to be successful and want success for yourself and like really take advantage of opportunities, coming from nothing and then giving these big opportunities to do big things. So they do like relate on that instance. Keeley has helped him out in the past when he was having his wanting to get that table, that restaurant, the reservation at that restaurant. And there's even a scene in this one after the kiss where he's just like completely embarrassed that he kisses her. And she's saying it's okay. And he's like just freaking out, goes into the bathroom, spits on the mirror like he did in that episode where he's trying to get that confidence. Which I think is just confidence to just be around her now that he tried to kiss her, or he did kiss her, but it was, not mutually, it wasn't a two-way street. So I don't know. It's like there's a situation where Nate, a character that I've loved Nate's arc, seeing kind of where it's going, the predictions that I've had, where it's like, I think he's going to leave. I think he's going to be a rival coach at some point. And this just further feels, and there's another instance in this episode that just feels more and more like it's going that way. And it's a bummer. A little over 4 years ago, I started The Many Faces. It's an ongoing series of abstract ink portraits. Each piece is improvised. Each piece is released daily. Start collecting now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF. That stands for The Many Faces. And save yourself 25% when you use coupon code RTS. That stands for The Ray Taylor Show, because that's what you're listening to, and I love you. So I want you to save 25% when you use that coupon code. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF and use coupon code RTS to save 25% when you start collecting one of over 1,600 original ink paintings. By myself, I made them. Support me. I love you. Back to the show. Because all of these characters in this show are so lovable. Jamie Tart was kind of annoying in the beginning, but then he even came around. He isn't a big aspect of it. Jamie Tart's dad is kind of a negative person, but he's not a big part of it. Rupert is a negative person, but he's not a big part of the show. Nate's a big part of the show, and he's becoming a villain. Not that kissing Keeley was a villainous act, but is definitely overstepping some bounds. What happens at the end of this episode is quite a bit more villainous. And just his attitude is he's turning into that villain with his attitude towards other people. Like he has got like this like repressed rage against people that haven't appreciated him in the past, and his ego has just exploded to where he feels like he can openly kind of do what he wants, and he's kind of been feeding this courage. He's becoming more courageous in different ways. Like he's kind of got the hard line, like I can talk shit and be completely comfortable talking shit. But then he's also kind of finding those mid ranges, especially with that restaurant episode. So it's like he is becoming like the bad guy in a show that really hasn't had bad. I mean, Rebecca, I guess, was a bad guy in the first season. She was the villain. There's no real villain in this season, but you're seeing the birth of a villain, which, from what I've heard, the show's been planned to do 3 seasons, so I would imagine in the 3rd season, he is our villain. So with the last episode and the events of the end of this episode, like I'd put money on it. Season 3, Ted Lasso, is AFC Richmond versus maybe Nate is coaching, a team with Rupert, or for the billionaire maybe. I mean, there's a lot of potential things for him, especially if, like, in this next game, there's drama in the coaching staff and they're still able to win it. Like there might be some claiming of who's more valuable, who's been the better coach. So yeah, it's like I have a feeling the next episode is going to make me like Nate less. Something's going to happen. Not going to be good. We might see Nate spit on himself in the mirror again. Spit on the mirror in his reflection in the mirror. Something like that. It's a very disrespectful thing. Like that's the thing that gives you, it's probably the thing that happened to him growing up, people spitting on him because he's a person of color in the UK and there's racism in the UK just like there is in America. And he's probably dealt with a lot of that, which would include people spitting on you, which is one of the most disrespectful things you could do to another human, to spit in their face. So for him to be deriving a sense of confidence from spitting on his reflection, almost as if he is like putting his old self down, his kind self, his like the sweet part of Nate that I loved throughout this series. Like that's the person he's spitting on, it feels like. And it's a bummer. It is such a it's like tragic to see him become the villain. Tragic. But anyway, he kisses her. Keeley, Roy's he's still talking with the teacher. He's got to go back home to do this photo shoot with Keeley. Keeley's there getting all ready. And during the photo shoot, for some reason during the photo shoot, while the photographer is changing lenses, they decide to just open up about some stuff. And Keeley tells Roy that Nate kissed him at the thing and that it's like, it was a misunderstanding. And it seemed like Roy's like, okay, that's fine. Like Roy's seemingly a very level-headed person. Very honest, doesn't deal with bullshit, but also a kind person. Like he doesn't have any ulterior motives. My brain is like on the verge of working today, just on the verge of it. So she tells him that Nate kissed her. Roy tells her that he was just at his niece's school and spent about 3 hours talking with her teacher. And then when the teacher asked if he was married, he said no, but also didn't follow up with anything like, oh, I'm in a relationship right now. I'm not married, but there wasn't any of that but. But it was just a 3-hour conversation. Obviously, it's weird because I like Roy and Keeley. I really do. And so then Keeley tells Roy during the funeral that Jamie came up to her and told her that he loved her. Which sat, just that back and forth. And then the photographer was back with the new lens taking more shots, was like, oh no. Why are they doing this? Why can't they they're so good together. Like this is not, it's like these small things. It's not like big things. It's not like anybody cheated on anybody, but it's these like small things. Even in the last episode, even in the funeral episode, there's like these small things like Roy just kind of their small friction during the funeral, but then Roy came and apologized for everything and explained himself well. So it seemed like even though there were small things, they got ironed out pretty easily. There wasn't any like gaslighting, there's no lying, there's no deception. They're very honest with each other. So when this happens, it's like, please don't go bad. Like I like them together. And it would be a bummer. It would be a bummer, but it's a show. Drama needs to happen. And the next episode might be full of drama. Sam might leave. Nate might really throw a bomb in this next, and might not even be around in the next one. Who knows? Keeley and Roy Who knows? Who knows what's going on with Keeley and Roy? Sharon's gone. So it's like everybody's going to have, I have a feeling, everybody's going to have big issues next episode, and Sharon's not going to be around to help anybody. She's so perfect at doing her job, just instantaneously fixing people, that like when shit hits the fan, like right as soon as she leaves, shit hits the fan. So I don't know. But that was a stressful moment when they were telling each other, I'm like, why are you, I mean, I guess you're open. I'm glad they're open. And it's not like either anybody did anything wrong, aside from Nate. And even when Nate kissed Keeley, it didn't feel like he was reading he just went for it. Like there didn't feel like, at least the way it was shot, didn't feel like there was a tension there. Didn't feel like he felt there was a tension there. It just felt like somebody who's been awkward and lacked confidence his whole life trying to shoot his shot in the worst way possible. Like just like not understanding that you can't just like jump to, like there has to be some kind of, you can't just kiss people. It's like you got to feel something at least if you're going to go in for that. There has to be some like connection there. And then this episode, so on top of those things that are happening, Ted goes to invite Sharon to her going away party, and Rupert is back in that office setting his stuff back up, and Ted finds out that Sharon already left. But she left everybody notes. Ted, of course, very angry. Not something that Ted normally does. Very angry. Goes to her place, waits for her outside, angry at her. Obviously, like he has abandonment issues. His dad killed himself. His wife just like left. I mean, he literally left the country, but then his wife divorced him. He's going through some stuff. They just had a breakthrough, and then she doesn't say goodbye. And she's like, it's in the note. It's in the note. We don't see what's in the note, but he does eventually read it. Great acting by Sudeikis. I mean, you feel the emotions. You feel like you can see him go from angry to okay to sad, like to touched. And he's like, well, let's go. He throws down the envelope of money that was the gift for her. Let's go have some drinks. Her train doesn't leave till midnight to Royston. So let's go to the bar and have some drinks. So they get to go to the bar and bond a little bit. You don't really see, they're just hanging out. There's no conversations really. You're just seeing them bond one last time. And then Ted says he's got to go pee and does the Irish goodbye to get her back. He just leaves her a note saying goodbye, and then in her beer, he went to go get the next round. In her beer was one of the little army men. So it was a fitting goodbye. It was a nice goodbye. I really enjoyed that goodbye. I'm sad that Sharon is leaving. Hopefully, next episode, when shit hits the fan, she comes back. I think she's a great addition to the show. Great part of the team. Especially like just being able to add mental health into a show. You have Ted with his panic attacks. You got, athletes having issues, just people having issues and being open to talk about them. I think it's a good addition. So you see that. And then at the end, so Ted goes home after the bar, and he gets a text from Trent Crimm from The Independent. And there's a story that's coming out, and he wanted to see if Ted had any comment on it. And the story is about how Ted had a panic attack during one of their last games, the game where he left. And Ted was told by Trent that Nate was the source. So it's like I said, he pulled the pin, threw the grenade, and now Ted knows that Nate he's like working against him. And Nate in the episode was angry because he's not getting credit for coming up with great plays. You know, he knows the sport really well, so he's able to come up with really great plays. And of course, Ted's getting the credit for it, but of course Ted is the head coach. So I can see the frustration that Nate would feel having this opportunity, finding great success, taking advantage of this opportunity, and almost just outgrowing his, like, he can't shed his skin fast enough. It's just growing pains. And he's burning bridges, and shit's going to hit the fan, and Sharon's not going to be around to save everybody. So we'll see. Rebecca tells Sam that she can't tell him what to do. But, the only thing that she could say is that she doesn't want him to leave. She's not sure if she's ready to be in a relationship with him because she's got her own issues. But she doesn't want him to leave. But she wouldn't feel right asking him to stay. So it's on Sam. We're going to see what Sam chooses. There's going to be a lot of things happening in this last episode, which episode 12 is Inventing the Pyramid of Success, which we've seen that pyramid before. Maybe that's going to be their fallback now that Sharon's not there. It's like everything's falling apart, but we have this thing. They're all going to pull it together in the last minute. It's going to be very interesting. But this was a stressful episode. I don't want to see Roy and Keeley break up. I don't want to see Nate become a villain. I don't want Sharon to go. I'm not happy that Ted is getting stabbed in the back by Nate because I love Nate. There's a great guy inside Nate, and he's turning into a horrible person, and it's a bummer. But yeah, that was episode 11 of season 2, Midnight to Royston. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com, and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!